Hi, I'm Kirthikka Devi Venkataram. In Women Who Code, we inspire women to excel in technology careers. This is a nugget of knowledge about GitHub to novice and non-coders. Let's get started. GitHub is a version control code hosting platform that runs on the open source program Git. It enables easy collaborative code development and management by, by means of version control system that easily navigates files between the folder and between the folders in your local system as well as to the cloud. It helps you to leverage an individual project by making a portfolio, as well as it organizes the files of the organization and a team, which makes it visible by help by with the help of its visibility feature, making it as public or private. There are quite an amount of inbuilt features that helps you to manage and develop code and also to automate the process in a structured way. Let's have a glimpse into the different features of GitHub. GitHub has a inbuilt security feature that helps you to find out the code vulnerability that also is supported for its enterprise software. The real-time code is highly protected by means of this feature. You have an automated CI/CD pipeline and a task flow that is easily built with a quick environment support that is highly recommended for any of the task flow that is organized by an organization. You have a personalized view of your project by the project management feature that helps you to have a glimpse of the current milestone achieved milestone, as well as to foresee the different milestones and also to track the project in a fruitful way. You also have the feature called team management that helps you to authorize or access the users to provide them write or read access, enabling them to have a control on the repository and to also make the users to have special authorization by means of team management. There is also an inbuilt feature called the community where you can raise questions that could be easily answered by the community as well as by any of the users of GitHub. It depends on the visibility of the repository and it also depends on the type of question that you ask on the platform. There are other options that could be used to navigate and to have a glimpse of the platform GitHub. One of it is its marketplace, and the other is the apps that could be integrated into the GitHub. You could also have a look into the Git Skill Hub that helps you to leverage your knowledge on GitHub. There are two different types of version that is currently available with GitHub. One is its web portal and the other is the desktop version. File navigation and transferability becomes quite easy with these two versions. You can commit, pull, push, and also merge your changes into your repository as well as to the branch with these two versions quite easily. Having a local copy in your local computer. There are quite different features that is unique to GitHub, like the collections, which gives you the glimpse of the latest technology, and it also leverages the code that is hosted pertaining to the technology in GitHub. You can also enroll to their beta feature. Also, you can add to the waitlist for the new features that is rolled out in GitHub. Here is a glimpse of the different web page and the features that is available in GitHub. A quite new feature that is helpful for project management is to have a client app which supports its mobile version or the tablet version that could be taken anywhere, and you could get connected with the latest updates on your project. So this is a quick nugget about GitHub. Let's have a hands-on approach towards it. Let's get started. So as you see, this is the GitHub login page. GitHub has two versions. One is the web portal version and the other is the desktop version. You could have both the versions to have easy navigation of files and folders between your local storage as well as to the cloud. You can also have easy access to pull any of the repositories and have a local copy of it, make your own experimentation and work, and then you can easily upload it to the cloud or to the GitHub portal. So let me quickly show you like how to create a GitHub account. You can just click on this option, sign up, and then you will have to provide basic details like your name, a password which is at least 8 characters long that has lowercase, a numeric as well as a special character inbuilt. There is also one important feature which owns a GitHub as a owner, which is the name as you give as a owner. This identifies you as a unique GitHub owner. So pay attention to give a proper name so that it could be displayed in your public profile. So once you're done with signing up, you can straight away log into your profile. So I'm just going to log into my profile and see how my profile looks like. I've just created this profile, I think 3 days ago, to have a better version of handling things and to also show you a demo of how a GitHub repository would look like when it is created in here. So this is the welcome page of the GitHub. So you can see quite an amount of information, very condensed amount of information, which is easy for you to explore. So GitHub has options to explore in many different ways, like you can navigate to different repositories that are available in the GitHub. You can also follow certain Git portal or Git owners whose repositories are interesting for you, like as I can show you certain trending repositories. Just click on this github.com/trending. You can see different types of repositories, and you can also press the start button so that interests you. You can also receive updates or notification about the changes that they do on it. So one example would be like to have, something like a Microsoft account. Microsoft has its own open source project. You can just follow them, and you can also start them to your repository so that you get notified about the latest trends and development which is happening with it. I also wanted you to show certain basic information about your profile. This is your profile. So you can pitch in your basic details, your biography and social media accounts to have easy access to external community. And this is the overview of your profile. Your profile has repositories, projects, and the starred repository that you are interested in. You can also create a certain list that could be organized separately for you to navigate for a later purpose. So let me show you a good way, like how to create a repository. The first step is to create a repository to have a local copy of the existing repository or to load your own repository, your own local files to cloud or the web portal of GitHub account. Let me quickly show you to create a new repository. This displays the owner, like the name with which you have created your GitHub account. And you can quickly create a repository with a name, an optional description, this gives you an option of the visibility of the repository. It could be public version, as anybody could have access, just a viewing access. Unless otherwise you give them an author access, they will not be able to edit your repository, but they will be able to view your repository. You can also make it as private so that it's bound to an organization or an individual or a group, especially to a team. So it's up to you to give the visibility of your repository. The best practice is to add at least one file to your repository, and GitHub gives you the option of adding a README file, so you can straight away go and click that to get a file to be there in your repository if you are not going to have any other local file to be added to it. Repository is nothing like a set of files, folders, data sheet, a Jupyter notebook, images, or things like that. So it could be organized in a file and folder format, or it could also represent a single project. Repository has a main branch, and there is also a feature branch which you need to create by yourself. This feature branch would indicate the changes that are being done in the main branch code or in the main branch files which is placed. And there are also different types of ways that you could pull, or you could also have navigate to the repository content, also to upload the content back to the repository, which I'll be showing you in a short while. So once a repository is created, I am going to add file to it. So there are two ways that you can do it. One is to upload the files which is there in your local storage, or you can also pull in from a different repository and add it over here. Else you can create a new file and then place it in this particular repository. Right now I'm going to upload a file and then add it to this particular repository. Let me choose the file that I'm going to add to this repository. I'm quickly navigating to add these two files to the repository. So as I was explaining to you earlier, this is the main branch on which I'm making these files to be visible. I can also create a new branch and then commit it to the new branch so that that could be pulled later, and changes to this file could be committed into this feature branch, the new branch which you are going to create, and the main branch holds the complete changes which is accepted by the author as per the rights given to the user. So I'm going to directly commit to the main branch because this is a file which I'm not going to modify by any chance. Let me commit the changes. So this will take a while to commit the changes into its main branch. So you can see all these files are committed to the main branch in the new GitHub that I have created. So you can see there are no projects. Instead, I have one repository that I have created currently. And I can also show you quickly like how to follow a repository. Maybe I'm just jumping into one of the Women Who Code community. And you can see I can just star or favorite the repository so that I can have a look into the contents of this particular repository, and I can take whichever files or repository content that is required for me to edit it locally or as a version in the desktop version of GitHub. So there are two types of GitHub versions which is available. One is the GitHub web portal and the other is the desktop version. Desktop version allows you to straight away navigate to your files which is present in the web account. So it's quite easy to navigate the files. Let me also show you that, before which I wanted you to have a quick insight about the difference between fork and clone. There are two words which I'm using now. That is cloning a repository and the other is forking a repository. The repository contents could be completely cloned to have a copy under your username or under your ownership, where cloning is when you commit or when you do changes the commit happens to the original repository and not to the local copy of the repository that you have created. If you are going to fork a repository, fork will give you an easy access to have a local copy of the complete repository, and you could make or play around with the changes, experiment it with the files that is present in the repository. The changes which you commit back will get reflected only in the local copy of the repository, and it doesn't affect the original repository content. This becomes significant when you don't have author access to a repository, so that you fork a repository, create a local copy of it, and then you play around with it. Let me quickly show you again how to fork a repository. So there are different repositories. Let me quickly get into the guidelines repository, which is quite not important, though I will show you how to do that. I'm just clicking on to a repository which is a part of Women Who Code. Now I am going to fork it. Just forking the repository. I just unclick the option of not contributing back to the Women Who Code guidelines resource repository, because I'm not going to contribute back. I'm just going to give you a glimpse of what fork means and how it creates a local copy into your own account. So right now I'm forking a repository which is present in one of the parent repository called the Women Who Code. So forking takes a while, and that is already forked. So you can see two popular repositories, which is forked and it's available for public to view. And I have also starred or favorite one of the repositories that interests me. You can also do it for any repository that you find it to be interesting. You can also find quite a different options which is available, and quite a different features which are inbuilt. There are new features which are coming up that gives you a glimpse of beta version, as well as to have an handhold of trying it out. You can also register to it, or you can join to their waitlist. There are other discussion forum where you can discuss about the issues that is present when you do certain basic operations with GitHub or with a certain repository that you're trying to access and things like that. You can also have a way to contribute back to the open source project that is available. You can straight away follow the organization that builds open source code, and they allow you to completely completely give you authority to build your own code and host them into their own repository. So that is also possible. So these are the basic things that you would need to know when you have a repository in hand, or when you need to create a repository. Let me also show you how to go to a repository once that is created into your local account, and how to open any file. So I am trying to open an IPYNB, a Jupyter notebook file, and this is the permalink of this particular Jupyter notebook file. And if I have to open it on a shared version or on a Colab, I can do it straight away. Opening Colab. There is an option provided to open the notebook in Colab. Go to this option, paste here your notebook, and then just press enter. You will have access to all these notebooks straight away. You can open them in the phone. You don't have to log into your Colab account, Google account, unless otherwise you want a local copy of it to be shared or stored in your Google Drive. So this is another way to have quick access and run the code in using Colab. And if you want to open this in your local desktop version, you can just create or clone a repository straight away by logging in into your GitHub account. So currently I'm going to log into my GitHub account. I need to authorize the desktop version. Let me do that quickly. And it will ask me for credentials like which repository that I have to open. I'm just opening the test report. So if I have to make any changes that is pertaining to this particular repository with the file content that I have, I can quickly do that, modify it in the IPNY file or the Jupyter file that I have here locally, host it in the web portal or in my GitHub account straight away by committing it from the desktop version. So for that, I just have to authorize, and then I can give a push or pull request accordingly to pull the Jupyter notebook or any of the files, or to push back the notebooks again to commit it to the main branch. So these are the basic features and options that is available in the GitHub. So you can try exploring it, and you can also get back to me for any questions that you have. Actually, GitHub is recognized as one of the portal where you can make it as a portfolio to project your projects as an individual. So I highly recommend to have a GitHub account so that it increases your visibility when you are in the voice to data science, or when you are looking for a job change or a career change into data science. So these are the quick information, and I think we are pretty much into the basic details that is required for knowing about GitHub. You also have a wiki page where you can explore different options and features that are inbuilt to GitHub. So that's it about the basic information shared about GitHub pertaining to our community. You can also visit our community portal to have much more elaborate information about different projects that is the different projects that are moving around, and which is also hosted in the GitHub. So let's see moving forward. Thank you.